If there was ever an exception to the rule for a wizard on Krynn, it was always and will always be Raistlin Majere. Welcome to another DragonLance Saga episode. My name is Adam, and today we're going to talk about Raistlin Majere. I'd like to take a moment and thank my collaborator patrons, the Heroes of the Lance, and invite you to consider becoming a patron or member of this channel by visiting the links in the description below. You can even pick up DragonLance gaming materials using my affiliate link. I am referencing novels and sourcebooks for this information, but we all know how deep and intrinsic Raistlin is to the history of Krynn, so if I skip over something or misspeak, please leave a comment below. The entire backstory for Raistlin was left for Margaret Weis to determine. She had to base it on Jeff Grub's idea of him having hourglass eyes and golden skin. She had help, as she recalls, because of the painting Larry Elmore made of Raistlin, showing suffering in his face. The design team planned him as being the unlikable character, as he was sly, greedy, and weak. Weis saw Raistlin as the tragic anti-hero, the man who will finally be consumed by his fatal flaw, his thirst for power. She was insistent that readers and players understand him, however. Raistlin turns to evil, but the heroes would not have defeated the Queen of Darkness without him. We are first introduced to Raistlin in Margaret Weis's short story, The Test of the Twins, in Dragon Magazine number 83. She described Raistlin as a frail and sickly magician and scholar. He and his twin Caramon made up one whole person. Caramon was the body, and Raistlin was the mind. This would prove to be the driving force throughout the Chronicles and Legends trilogies, which would propel Raistlin from that original designed, unlikable character into arguably the most popular character in all of Dragonlance. Caramon and Raistlin were raised by their half-sister Kitiara. Raistlin nearly died in his infancy and lived by Kitiara's will alone, as he was weak and sickly. Their mother Rosamund was unwell and more than happy to allow Kitiara to take up her role. It was Raistlin's father, Ghilan, that would set him down the path of magic with a visit to a local illusionist, Waylon. Raistlin was obsessed with the craft, and by the evening had learned every one of the sleight-of-hand tricks through observation alone. His father would enroll him in a prestigious school taught by a highly reputed master mage, Theobald. He was talented in math and memory. Raistlin even inherited his mother's psychic abilities, though he was never able to control or channel them. The mage did not like Raistlin, and was going to turn him away when Raistlin began reading the master's spell books. Now, this can be deadly to those too young or weak in the craft. He was immediately accepted as a pupil. By the age of 16, Raistlin had outgrown his master. He was picked on and bullied by the other boys around his age, and his brother Caramon would be the only one on his side. After their father's death and mother's retreat into her mind, which preceded her death, Raistlin would find nothing but contempt for others. They were either less intelligent than him or outright harmed him. This would come to be a defining characteristic in Raistlin, revealing itself in the defense of those marginalized. Eventually, they gained respect from the townsfolk, Caramon for his strength and Raistlin for his skills in magic. They earned money from the strength of Caramon and performances by Raistlin, which only infuriated his master. They became friends with the other heroes of the lands and shared misadventures together. At the age of 20, Raistlin was offered an opportunity to take the test of high sorcery. He knew that it meant the possibility of death, but also the possibility of realizing his true potential. This unexpected offer came from the master of the tower, Parsalian, who needed a sword to battle the coming evil. Parsalian would arrange the offer to Raistlin. During the test, which would curse him with the hourglass eyes that saw time passing and his hair turning white and skin golden, he was presented with an opportunity from the archmage Fistendantilus. Fistendantilus would grant power to Raistlin in return for some of his life force. Raistlin agreed with the bargain, though would not recall it in his life until nearly the end of the War of the Lands. At the end of the test, Raistlin also killed an illusion of his brother, as his actual brother watched. Raistlin was gifted with the Staff of Magus, and his long road of addiction was cemented. You see, the story of Raistlin is not one of casual growth, but one of an addict whose every decision was predicated on getting his next fix. His fix came in the form of greater power. This addiction would lead to his incredible growth from a young mage to ultimately the most powerful magic user in all of Krynn's history, who would challenge and destroy the gods and Krynn itself. It wouldn't be until the bitter end, when he divined his own future through his brother's memory, that he would make the ultimate sacrifice. Not for the sake of his family, friends, or Krynn, but for himself. His long road to this moment began in the Tower of High Sorcery in Wayward Forest with Fistendantilus's offer, but it was fueled by his acquisition of Fistendantilus's spell book in Zax-Saroth and a dragon orb in Sylvanesty. Combined with the artifacts, the Staff of Magus and the Dragon Orb, and empowered by the magic of Fistendantilus, Raistlin would not only be able to realize his unprecedented growth in the craft, but become the sword that Krynn needed to battle Takhisis. These were also what allowed Raistlin to become a sanctioned renegade, existing outside the rules of the Order of High Sorcery by saving the three gods of magic and the Orders itself from the Dark Queen's machinations. It was Raistlin who was the fulcrum that allowed the heroes to prevail, and in the aftermath, after paying his debt to everyone who assisted him in his youth and rise to power, he would turn his eyes to history in an effort to destroy the lich that had both drained and empowered him. He fulfilled Andrus's curse by entering the Tower of High Sorcery in Palanthas as both Raistlin and Fistendantilus, thereby proving that he is the master of both past and present, and schemed a delicate operation to enter the abyss and challenge the Queen of Darkness herself. He would use his brother, his apprentice Dalamar the Dark, and the priestess Chrysania against themselves to follow, often unknowingly, his carefully laid plan. Raistlin traveled back in time to before the Cataclysm, became an apprentice of the very archmage that inhabited his soul, and defeated him in magical combat. When the dust cleared, not even the authors were sure who remained. Did Raistlin absorb Fistendantilus's soul, or was it the other way around? And ultimately, did it matter? Raistlin ceased to exist and simply personified the master of past and present title. He would enter the Tower of Palanthas, searching for the portal to the abyss, and find himself trapped in the river of time, following Fistendantilus's footsteps to his own doom, until he controlled the magical backlash of opening the portal in Zaman while the device of time traveling activated, which killed Fistendantilus, but Raistlin overcame by will alone. Caramon would come from the future to reveal Raistlin's success and ultimate failure with the assistance of Tasselhoff and Tanis in the Tower of High Sorcery in Palanthas. Now, some would claim that Raistlin was tortured by Takhisis for this, but that is all based on the Dark Queen of Krynn video game. He was actually granted peace by Paladine for his sacrifice, and would be awakened from that peaceful sleep by Dalamar through his nephew Raistlin Majere's Test of High Sorcery. He was stripped of his magic by Takhisis for leaving the abyss. Raistlin would assist Palin and Dalamar against the All-Father Chaos in the Second Cataclysm, and was granted final respite with the gods in its aftermath. He would return in the War of Souls with the gods to locate Krynn, and welcome his brother's soul to the afterlife. Now, whether you think Raistlin's arc was spoiled by his return from rest or not is less important than the moral that was told through his life. Addiction is dangerous and hurts those around you as much as it hurts yourself. His realization of this and his ultimate sacrifice is his redemption, and I believe that is the reason why so many continue to love this character to this day, 37 years after he was first introduced to us. And that is all I can say about Raistlin Majere in this episode. Do you think he could have been as powerful without Fistendantilus? Did he sacrifice too much for his magic? And finally, how do you feel about his end in the novels? Leave a comment below. I'm able to create these weekly videos because of your attention and support. If you're not already a patron or member of this YouTube channel, I would like to invite you to consider becoming one. If you would like to pick up any edition of Dragonlance gaming materials, feel free to use my affiliate link in the description. Thank you again for your time and attention. This channel is all about celebrating the wonderful world of the Dragonlance Saga, and I hope you'll join me in the celebration. Thank you for watching. This has been Adam with Dragonlance Saga, and until next time, remember, threats are for the fearful. I merely state facts.